Ladies and nerds, welcome back to Press Play, our first episode of 2023. It's a long time coming, but you knew we had to get together to talk the Oscars. And, well, to talk the Oscars, who do we need? Well, let's go ahead and grab them. Let's grab the original Nerdcast crew. We've got Tyler here.
Hello.
Did you win last year? Is that right?
Win last year.
Okay. I don't want to talk
defending
about it too much
champion.
then. All right. Then we do have Adam, our vote from the heart. Nerdcast, well, he's champion of our heart too. We'll call him champion of our heart for sure.
Yeah, I don't win, and that's fine.
That's fine. And then our newcomer to the picks, who's been on plenty of our live stream content and everything, joining us at all the conventions. But Aaron, who will also be here picking today. Hello, Aaron.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for having me. I'm pretty excited for my very first Oscar pick episode.
Yeah, so Aaron's job here is to just beat Tyler. She is what every fan is rooting for, to make sure Tyler doesn't come in first or second or anything. That's
Right.
It's a lot of pressure, Aaron, because he does a lot of research and he's prepping. But before we started, and we'll do some mild talking beforehand, but I do just want to introduce that we are recording this ahead of time. So as Tyler was talking about before we started recording, we just are coming off the Producers Guild. We haven't even had the Screen Actors Guild yet. So we are still shy of some other awards that help us do our predictions. So even though this won't air till the week before, we're recording a week earlier and could impact Tyler could be screaming to us.
Well, and this is one of the
later.
first times ever, because like they've moved so much of the award season over, but moving Oscars up as much as they did. Like the actual Oscar voting for the winners doesn't start for another like 4 or 5 days. Like the ballots don't go out until what, like March 2nd, I think, this year. So
I don't know, honestly. The dates, like you said, the dates have all changed so much. I really don't know. I don't know how I didn't notice this, because we've been talking for about 15 or so minutes. Adam, what happened to your beard? Adam's beard. Like,
I mean, I wasn't going to say anything, but yeah, no, I needed to shave it off. Had some medical stuff going on, so just keeping it trim, keeping it tight right now. That's all.
Okay. I don't know. I now that I've seen it, I can't unsee it.
It clicked with me after we started, so I wasn't going to say anything in the middle of the podcast. But like when he first came on, I was like, I mean, that looks kind of like Adam, but it looks kind of different. I can't really place what's wrong.
Is that Carrie here?
Did he lose some weight, or what's going on?
Yeah, he lost about 10 pounds of hair there. That's what he lost it.
Maybe.
There you go. Awesome. Well, I'm really excited to be back together with all of y'all. It's been a while. I will say, we're gonna make Adam jealous a little bit. It's been almost a year since all four of us have actually been together in person. We've been together on purpose since then too. But Tyler, we saw just about a month ago on my first ever trip to Vegas. Actually, yes, true, twice. So my first ever trip to Vegas, Adam. Tyler drove through. He stayed here Friday night, and then we went to Vegas, and we saw him Saturday night as he continued driving through to get to Vegas. So
in the middle of my 28-hour drive, so it was a good time.
Oh my gosh.
And he had sushi 2 nights in a row.
I did have sushi 2 nights in a row. Not on purpose, but it just happened.
It's not a bad thing.
I was going to say, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
Those are happy accidents, right? Those. But it was quite a trip to Vegas as well. Our luggage was lost. My first trip there, but we did consume plenty of food as well. But next time we go, Adam, you'll have to join us in Vegas. We'll have to get you to fly out.
That's such a long flight.
Worth it for like a 48 hour trip. I think that's worth it.
For a 48-hour trip.
20 hours of plane flight. Yeah, sure.
You gotta come home and see our new terminal now, though. I still haven't seen it yet. I have to fly back and go see it.
MCI?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Now. Okay.
And we will have to mention it, since he did accidentally put the shirt on the chair behind him there. Obviously, Tyler and Adam are still celebrating a Super Bowl championship here.
Right there. I don't know what you're talking about at all.
Woohoo! You know what? To be honest, though, we haven't recorded also since another championship. So I will mention.
No one watches baseball.
No one watches. There we go. So all right. Well, enough sports ball. Let's talk it. This is our insert number of annual Oscar pick'em. I did a lot of research ahead of time, obviously, for the 2023 Oscars, celebrating the best of movies in 2022, or celebrating who markets the best of their movies in 2022. Maybe a little accurate there.
There is an art to an Oscar campaign.
There is an art.
And there was actual like serious like backlash to a campaign this year.
Oh, big time. Somebody used social media, and it was so effective that the Academy felt something wasn't right with it. They're like, wait, all these old white people are like, what is social media? Can't have that big of an impact, can it?
It made me go see the movie, and I don't know that I would have seen it otherwise.
Into Leslie's. So, and it was it Andrea Riseborough, right? Into Leslie. It had at the time of
also has Mark
nomination.
Maron in it.
Oh, that's right. Because I did watch the trailer. I didn't see the movie, but I watched the trailer afterwards. But at the time of its her nomination for Best Actress, it had grossed $23,000. Something like that.
It had been in like 3 theaters or something. Mm-hmm. Very, very limited release, not counting like festivals and stuff. So
now, on the other hand, because I've read a number of articles as of late about the kind of the lost. The two things. The first thing cover is how the big movies don't really do it anymore. And obviously, when we start going through these picks, we're going to talk a lot of big blockbusters. Of course, we have, now the 3rd highest grossing movie of all time, Avatar 2, got some nominations. But what I think Steven Spielberg has credited as saving the box office this year is Top Gun Maverick, with the owned the summer. I think is the only way to really put it. Just completely owned it. So a couple of huge films there. But the thing is that I read an article that was interesting before we start picking about how the way it is now, the way movies are presented and shared with us, that the art of discovering those indie films that get nominated for awards is no longer really there anymore. And I don't know what you think about that, but to give a little more detail before I get y'all's opinions on it, as I read it, I thought about it. I was like, 10 years ago, and movies will be nominated, there'd be like 3 or 4 films that I hadn't heard of, and then I go seek them out. Now, those you've heard of every film except for To Leslie, I guess, would be the only one that counters this argument. Because if it's not even the artsy films, the award favorites, half of them are found on a streaming service or put out there, or as we even mentioned, the marketing for these films have changed. So I don't know. What are y'all's opinion before we start picking on that? The way movies are given to us has kind of changed the art of finding the film.
I mean, it's definitely been a gradual change, because once streaming became kind of mainstream a few years back, you couldn't necessarily find all these movies on streaming or in theaters. But once they started getting buzz, once they got critical acclaim, then come award season, all the streaming services be like, hey, here's our chunk of, here's Amazon Prime, here's all the award ones, here's Netflix, here's all the awards that we have the access to. So that started happening. But like you said, I can remember 10, 15 years ago when we were in college, having to drive to Lawrence to Liberty Hall to see a one-time showing of some indie flick that was getting a lot of buzz, or drive all the way to Kansas City, drive to a city that had a boutique theater that would show something. Right. And you definitely don't do that anymore. You literally just go to Google, type in the name of the movie, and then on the right hand find the streaming service it's on, click on it and watch it, and call it a day.
Right.
So
yeah, it takes some of the magic out of it, maybe. But is that a bad thing either? I mean, because then maybe more people have access to some of these films than would previously have had access.
Well, you countered my question there, but yes, that's a great ask on your part. I would say it has its, like you said, you introed with it. It takes a little of the magic out of it. But how many people are recording podcasts about picking your Oscar favorites, right? So it's hard when I think about that too, because when I'm thinking about purchasing physical media still, and we're watching all of these brick and mortars just take them off the shelves, they're not at Best Buy anymore. Target's hardly carrying anything, right? And people I'm seeing online complaining about it, but I'm like, how many people are really searching out collector's edition movies, steelbooks, are looking at these, they want the streaming. So it's hard because we often look at it through our lens.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think for me, if you guys really wanted to go see those, I'm sure they're still in the theaters. Have you looked? I mean, therein lies the question, right? So just because they're also streaming doesn't mean they aren't also in a small boutique theater somewhere. Now, how many small boutique theaters survived Corona and all the lockdowns and everything like that? I know here in England, it's not a big number. It wasn't a big number to begin with, and it's even smaller now. So, but but I would guess you could still see them, and you might even be able to see them in bigger theaters and easier to find in a theater. But I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on where you live and what's going on. I kind of lean towards with Aaron, though. I think the egalitarian nature of it, allowing more people to see it, will always be better.
Right.
For me, anyway.
Yeah,
Tyler, you had something down?
Well, I think it's just a tack on to what you were saying about how we're not the normal audience to go out and buy the movies. We're also like, just because all these movies are available on streaming does not mean that many people are watching them. It's easier for us to do what we were going to do anyway. You still like, it's not like people are still like going and watching all the short form documentaries now because they're super easy to get on. They're still not, I don't think they're seeing a slightly larger audience than they would have before, but I don't know that the uptick is, I don't know how much it moves the needle.
Right.
So over years past.
Last question around this before we start diving into the pick'ems, because this is an extended episode. We take a little bit of time. Do you think this is allowing, for Adam and Tyler, y'all especially know, because we've done this now for 8 to 10 years and there's been coverage of it, about a number of these movies don't even get seen by the Academy voters themselves. They're voting based on popularity or hearsay. Do you think this availability on streaming services, more exposure, is actually, I guess we're guessing here, but is the Academy, members of the Academy, actually watching more? Or are they pretending still?
Well, I mean, they were getting sent screeners to begin with. Like,
yeah, they had full access the whole time.
They didn't have to go. Like, I don't know that there's anyone who wasn't watching it before that's watching them now. Maybe before they're nominated now, there's a better odds of them having seen them. But if they didn't have the wherewithal the motivation to put the screener in and watch it, I don't know that they're gonna.
So maybe
have to boot up Netflix for it, or
right.
Yeah,
so
you might have more of the
nominations.
PAs that are watching, maybe.
What was that one year where that copy got out there with Ellen's name on it and it was her PA who leaked it or something like that? So anyways, all right, let's do this. Let's cue that beautiful theme music for the episode. And there's a graphic going on here, and just making this all cool, not seeing our faces for those of y'all watching video. For those of you turning into the audio, you had to guess about it all, what's happening on the screen anyways. But we're going to go into these Oscar pick'ems, and I'm excited. This is fun always. Let me get all my screens ready. I have everything pulled up. What we do quick, and we make them quick because none of us, as you mentioned, have seen a lot of these either. Let's hit up those short films. So let's get these that we usually consider our tiebreakers, our guessers, out of the way. And we're going to pick on Best Documentary Short first. Normally I would say, Aaron, you're new first, but I know you're a little nervous about picking first. So we're going to make Tyler pick first here. For Best Documentary Short Film, we've got The Elephant Whispers, How Do You Measure a Year, The Martha Mitchell Effect, and Stranger at the Gate.
Yeah, I have to admit, I usually try a lot harder. This year, I was really busy during kind of award season, plus it's been truncated. I have seen exactly 0 of these, so I'm going to go entirely off of what other like critics awards have been given out and some Vegas odds, and I'm going to go with The Elephant Whispers. It has the most buzz. It's won quite a few critics city choice award kind of stuff, so feel pretty good about. I feel as good about that as you can about short form documentary in any given year. So
all right, Adam, sir, what are you thinking?
Yeah, same strategy as Tyler, and it is the odds on favorite there, The Elephant Whispers. Because I know absolutely nothing about any of these movies, so that's where I'm at.
Aaron?
Well, maybe I should have gone first because I did a little research, and that was going to be my pick also.
Well, let's call it a clean sweep, because I'm going there as well for the same purposes. I think, we've all had crazy busy years, and unfortunately for this and live action short, I don't want to speak for y'all, but I'm assuming same kind of boat. I really have no idea what's happening here. But The Elephant Whispers, I've heard of quite a bit, and as Tyler mentioned, it's getting some buzz, so we'll start there. Best Animated Short. Now, this one's always fun because one thing about that whole mention of these landing on streaming services, I've started to see more of these over the past couple of years because you'll see them. A big mention, of course, I think that was just last year's Netflix winner. I very aware of it. I purposely did not watch it because the subject matter of sending the child to school and things. But point being is it's there now. And Best Animated Short has The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the House, The Flying Sailor, Ice Merchants, My Year of Dicks, and Ostrich Told Me the World is Fake, and I Think I Believe It. First of all, this might be the best collection of titles in any category.
That's
but,
easy, yeah.
Right? Adam, we'll let you start here.
Well, picking based on the titles, I am going with An Ostrich Told Me the World is Fake, and I Think I Believe It.
All right. Aaron, what are your thoughts for Best Animated Short?
This one, I was also kind of looking at what some of the favorites were. I'm going to go with The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse.
All right. I was actually thinking The Boy, the Mole. That's the favorites. That, again, like The Elephant Whisperers, seems to be, if you Google search any of these titles, that's the one that's getting it. However, I have read some fun articles on My Year of Dicks. I want to pick that because of what the content is about, but because the title's a little provocative, this goes back to the older white academy. Are they actually picking it? So I guess I just was going to pick something different and just changed my rate here on air. I'm going to stick safe for now. The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. Tyler, what are you thinking?
I have actually seen a couple of these, and I'm going to go with one of them I have seen. It is fantastic. It also won the Annie Award and the BAFTA Award for this category, and it is The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. So, has some really good voice acting. Idris Elba is in it. Gabriel Byrne.
Right.
It's really good. And the book it's based on is a really good children's book. So, if you ever want to pick that up.
Right. Perfect. All right. So Best Live Action Short. Let me get that list pulled up here. An Irish Goodbye, Ivalu Les Pupils, Night Ride, The Red Suitcase. Aaron? You get to go first, finally.
Le Pupil. I'm not saying that very well. Le Pupil.
All right. I guess that comes around to me, and I'm going to agree with Aaron on this one. That's like the other two categories. It's a front runner favorite, which is odd. And Tyler and Adam, as y'all pick, I don't know if we've ever had in digging such clear, like these seem to be the choices, right? I don't know. But anyways, Tyler, Best Live Action Short.
I'm probably going to end up regretting this. I'm going to go off this because there's one that's also gaining some buzz, not quite as much as Le Pupil, and that's An Irish Goodbye. And I also just love that title, so I'm going to go with Irish Goodbye.
Irish Goodbye, yeah, definitely. Adam, I think you're muted.
That's unfortunate. It's An Irish Goodbye.
An Irish Goodbye. All right, we're splitting the field here. Perfect. All right, so that's it for the shorts. Oftentimes, these in the past have led to being tiebreakers. We do have a couple categories where we've picked separate, so there's possibility it could be here as well. But I do think when we get into some of these bigger ones, we do have a lot of less uncertainty this year, so it's a possibility we could see something different. But we're going to get into some of the, well, before we get the technical awards, but below the line awards, best makeup and hairstyling. And if I go around the list, I needed to put my list in the order. This is me to go first, I guess. Oddly, I've noticed a few sites in the Vegas odds on The Whale, and I don't know if I trust it. I think this is a chance for certain movies that should be getting recognized in the later to not that aren't. So I'm really kind of on the fence between Black Panther and Elvis here. And I think I'm going to go out on a limb here and pick Elvis, which I'm not seeing on a lot of websites or early predictions, but I think I don't think Elvis is going to get well awarded on Oscar night, and this is a chance for it. Tyler, what are you thinking? You're making a face. I think I'm wrong.
Black Panther, not so much, but Elvis, I think if Elvis wins, I would not be surprised. I think it's probably second to the one I'm going to pick, but I think The Whale, just the Brendan Fraser transformation is going to get the win just for it is the showiest piece of makeup and costume. I mean, makeup and hairstyling that's nominated this year. And I think it's not that Austin Butler's wasn't really good, but I think the Brendan Fraser transformation is it's the showy piece. It's the one people know about. I think it's going to get the votes.
Adam, you're nodding.
Yeah, I think it's definitely between those two. And I think Tyler pinned kind of both reasons why. I mean, Brendan Fraser's transformation is insane, but having to pin Elvis, and everybody knows what Elvis looks like, right? Everybody knows the outfits that he wore. Everybody knows all of the things about his life. it's just so ingrained in public consciousness, certainly for the generation above us. But even I remember growing up watching Blue Hawaii movies and stuff like that, and so I think it's going to be Elvis, just because.
All right.
It's hard to replicate something that everybody remembers.
That's a good point, Aaron.
Oh, there's a lot of good points, actually. This one I was kind of on the fence about when I was making my decisions earlier, but I ultimately went with The Whale because the crafting a realistic and accurate fat suit, basically, that you believe is really difficult. And I think that was a big part of the movie. And I think it was really, really well done. And there's a possibility that they'll recognize that. So Whale is my pick.
All right. Next category is costume design. We've got Babylon, Black Panther, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. I love saying that title. But Tyler, this is start for you. Is this going to be a quick pick for all of us here? Is this a pretty obvious one, or are you straying from?
I think this one's a coin flip one as well. I think
really.
I think it's even closer than makeup and hairstyling was. Elvis and Black Panther, I think, could easily win this one. I'm gonna go with Elvis.
Okay.
But Black Panther very well could win this.
All right, Adam, are you in agreement with him, or?
I am in agreement with him that we are a 2-horse race. I am in disagreement as to which horse is going to win. I think it is going to be Black Panther. I don't think the first one won for this category, but there was so much buzz about how they designed the costumes for that movie that I think this one wins, almost like a lot of the Return of the King awards for Lord of the Rings are like, yeah, the whole thing's great. Give it to him.
Aaron, what's your thoughts on?
Well, I think that I know Black Panther is definitely a contender. I think that between best makeup and hairstyling and best costume design, I'm going to go with Elvis for best costume design.
Okay. All right. We're splitting here again. I'm going to join Adam on this one. So Adam and I had Elvis for makeup and hairstyling, where Tyler and Aaron had The Whale. So Aaron and Tyler are taking Elvis here for costumes, while Adam and I will take Black Panther. I think there's just too much emotion for Black Panther for it to not win really anything. And I'm going to be honest, when we start to get down this list, there's not a lot of other opportunities for that movie to win awards. So, but we are best visual effects, which is an exciting one for us as we head into the technical awards. All Quiet on the Western.
Do we even need to go around the room on this one?
Are we?
Is everyone just going to vote Avatar, or what are we doing?
List the nominees at least. All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar, The Way of Water, The Batman, Black Panther, Top Gun, Maverick. I mean, we can make this a quick pick. I think Avatar is the obvious. Is there any? And actually, I think on the Vegas odds, is there anything that's like, this is one of those ones to where the numbers are just ridiculous? Like if you were going to bet,
Top Gun is like the next closest at like plus 1,000 in most books. So plus 1,200, I think. So
what are we thinking? So Tyler and I obviously just picked Avatar without
Avatar.
Yeah,
Adam,
it's
Aaron.
It's Avatar.
I picked Avatar.
All right.
That one seems obvious. Like that one just seems like an obvious one. So
right. All right. So best production design. I feel like this one might be obvious too, but I could be wrong here. We've got, again, All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar, The Way of Water. Instead of the Batman, it's Babylon and Elvis and the Fablemans that change it up. Adam, I'll let you kick us off here for best production design.
So this one I'm kind of torn with. I think it's going to be Elvis, because you're recreating stuff that everybody knows, and that goes one way or the other. Either it's so good that everybody's like, yeah, that's amazing that they've done that, or it's somebody had already done it and you just copied, so that's not really impressive. But I think I'm with you. I think Elvis is not going to get a whole lot, and so they're going to scoop up some of these more technical ones.
Right. All right, Aaron, what are you thinking? Production design.
I'm gonna go Babylon for this one. Babylon's getting a lot of praise, and I think that it's got a really good chance of winning. So that's my pick.
So Babylon's not going to win anything else. Like, it's not going to win anything else. And as much as this movie just disappeared from award contention in a lot of major ways when it was supposed to be there, the understanding of it, it's still a spectacle of a film. Like, it's still a big deal. And more importantly, it's capturing like golden age era of Hollywood. This is a huge thing. I think Babylon's the pick. However, I do just want to remind that last year I went West Side Story on production design, the only one not to pick Dune, because I thought this is capturing a golden era of something from the past and is a big deal. So I'm going to do it again. Hopefully I'm right this time, but I could end up eating my words on it. All right, Tyler, round us out. Production design.
Yeah, it is there's not much else to recommend Babylon. Like you said, it's probably not going to win any other awards. It has a chance in score, maybe, but it's not going to win anything else. It also won the BAFTA for production design. It also won the Hollywood Critics Association for production design. And I think it won like one of the other big production design. Oh, the Art Directors Guild Award for production design. So Babylon is, I think, the odds on favorite. And also, just like you said, it's not going to win anything else. Like, it's going to be its one trophy. So
no, Chazelle is still a favorite in the Academy. And even though his film didn't get much praise, I don't, maybe people are still like, oh, that whole La La Land thing for Best Picture. Maybe they're still like, we need to give this guy something. All right. So Best Sound is the next one. For those of you that aren't familiar, what was that, 4 or 5 years ago, they switched from sound, the 2 different sound awards, and just were like, this is too confusing.
Sound design and sound editing, which are very different.
Let's put it into one. And we would actually, if you go back to some of our older episodes, you can look at where we kind of break down the differences of them. But oftentimes you would see picks be kind of weird because we're like, this one should totally win for sound editing, not sound design, and then it went, So anyways, long story short, they put it all in the Best Sound. We've got All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of the Water, The Batman, Elvis, and Top Gun: Maverick. Aaron, you get to kick us off for Best Sound.
Oh, I'm going Top Gun all the way on this one.
All right, Top Gun.
That one's gonna win.
You know what? I'm going to agree with Aaron on this one, partly because I think Top Gun's going to get more wins than I'm probably even going to give it credit for on this vote. There was a lot of love for Top Gun and a lot of love from the industry thinking like you rescued the box office, right? So, and Steven Spielberg going to bat for it before, as Tyler mentioned, ballots are even in, things like that. I think there's a lot of opportunity for Top Gun, but the sound, partly because Tom Cruise is just a wonderfully psychotic when it comes to the detail and realism of things. We get so much of that real jet, like not just the visuals, but the sounds too.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah. Tyler, what are you thinking?
Yeah, Maverick's my pick. It's picking up all the awards that you would expect it to get. And I think, like, you're right. I think it's going to win more than people expect. But this is going to be its first win of the night.
Right. All right. Adam, you're nodding.
Yeah, it's Top Gun. And technically, sound-wise, it is very good. I mean, it's as, to me, as a slam dunk as Dune was. So,
right. I think I'm gonna go back. I kept last year's in here just to be sure. And there was 5 of us that picked last year. We all picked Dune, and it obviously won Best Sound. All right, Best Film Editing. This is where I think we start to get interesting. We get a little harder on some choices here. We've got The Banshees of Inisherin, which is, for all the best way to explain it is seemingly just a very big award darling this year. Like, people see the nominations, everything. Elvis, which we've already mentioned that name how many times now, and to be honest, not a lot of people thought it was going to get into all these nominations and wins. Everything Everywhere All at Once, which took the world by storm, took me by storm, and I left my hot dog fingers downstairs, so I can't pull them out for any Everything Everywhere All at Once picks. Tar, which I don't know. It seems to be more about the performances, and then Top Gun Maverick, which we were just praising. I am leading into that because I guess I'm the first one to pick here. I think Everything Everywhere All at Once is potentially the favorite, and I want to pick it. The editing is just absolutely brilliant in it. But I think this is where I say I'm going to do it. I'm going to say Top Gun. I'm going to say Top Gun is the one who's going to win. And it's going to be because, like I said, I think it's just going to get more of that, like, you did good. You did good. So, Tyler, what are you thinking?
Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's you took a story that could have been completely and utterly incomprehensible and incoherent and made it very clear while still being insanely wild, and that's a feat in and of itself in editing. Not just how good the editing is, but this is not the kind of movie where you're just like, let's pick the best of these 3 scenes that we filmed 3 times. Like this is something else entirely from an editing standpoint, and I don't see it not winning. And it's won a lot of other editing awards already, including the BAFTA. So
right. Adam.
Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Okay. And Aaron.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So originally I picked Top Gun because I just thought I was on the fence, but I thought Top Gun was probably just a shoe-in. But now, I'm almost changing my mind because I do love Everything Everywhere All at Once. It is really phenomenal. And the way Tyler just put that, like you're creating something out of this chaos. Oh my gosh. I'm going to go with Top Gun. I'm going to stick with my original.
Stick with the original?
Yeah, I'm going to regret that probably.
I will say I'm going to regret it too. I'm going to regret it too, because when we get to the acting nominations, I'm going to say some things about Everything Everywhere All at Once that completely contradicts what I picked here. I do think, in my mind, Everything Everywhere All at Once is the best edited film of the year. And it's exactly what Tyler was saying, is that movie could have been just a train wreck if not edited properly. Mm-hmm. And I'll save it for when we get there, but I just think Top Gun's going to get a lot more picks than I was originally giving credit for, so I'm trying to make up for it.
Yeah, I also can't beat Tyler if I just keep picking the same thing.
That's very true. That's very true. So maybe and this is going to be super hard for Tyler on Best Cinematography as we head in there, because Roger Deakins is nominated, but he's not the favorite here, and Tyler, that's his boy. But we do have All Quiet on the Western Front, James Friend, Bardo, False Chronicles of a Handfuls of Truth, Darius Kanji, Elvis, Mandy Walker, Empire of Light, Roger Deakins, and Tar, Florian Hofmeister. This is we've had a couple we haven't been sure on. This is where I think we really start getting into we're going to see that the back half of this award show this year is going to be really, really tough to pick. It is going to be kind of a wide open field. But Tyler, why don't you give us some thoughts on Best Cinematography?
I mean, you said it. Roger's my guy. Roger's almost more well known for losing Oscars than he is for winning them, though. So let's be clear. He's lost some that I'm still angry about. Life of Pi beating him. I don't want to talk about it. That was a kid on a boat in front of a green screen. That's not cinematography. Don't tell me it is. But he finally got his win with Blade Runner 2049. Empire of Light is beautifully shot because everything that Roger Deakins shoots is beautifully shot. No one really saw Empire of Light. I don't know that anyone's going to go out of their way to see Empire of Light. And I also really like James Friend. James Friend is an amazing cinematographer, and All Quiet on the Western Front is viscerally shot. It's insanely well shot, and I think it's going to win in a walk. I don't know that there's anyone else that has a chance to win this one.
Adam, you're nodding again in agreement.
Yeah, it's All Quiet on the Western Front, and Tyler put it quite well. It is viscerally shot. The way it's shot, you feel what is happening in that movie. It's not just doesn't wash over you. It attacks you viciously.
Definitely. Aaron, thoughts?
Oh, I agree with that. And it's probably going to win. This one, though, I'm completely switching it up, and I'm going to go with my heart. I'm pulling Adam, and I'm going to go Bardo.
Bardo. So first of all,
I'm just completely switching it up.
My thoughts, and first of all, brave on you. I gave you the pressure of having to beat Tyler, so she's picking against Tyler, which is brave on you for. And you don't have to hold that mantle. You don't have to hold that mantle. It's all of ours. But Bardo, and we just watched Birdman last night, and Aaron had never seen Birdman before, and thinking of it made me think more of Bardo. Bardo, actually both, All Quiet on the Western Front and Bardo, both were in my top 10 movies of the year. If you go look at the list on Project Nerd, both were phenomenal. And for the big reason these two were in there is just because of how masterfully they are shot. They are phenomenal. I just think Bardo's a stretch pick. I want it for my heart the same right. too, because I just think anything Inarritu makes is just so masterfully, shot. But I think, Adam, you won me over with when I watched All Quiet on the Western Front. Like, I had anxiety. In some of those moments. I was just not feeling good. And I think that moment where the tanks come through or the pit scene and stuff like that. And this kind of goes back to what we're talking about with editing, how everything everywhere all at once could have been a mess. you could have totally taken some intensity out of those scenes if you shot them differently. And it was just shot wonderfully. That whole opening sequence, like even, but so I'm going to stay safe and go All Quiet on the Western Front. If Bardo wins though, I will cheer it with you, Aaron, because
it's a great movie. I loved it. I loved
right.
it. I also loved All Quiet on the Western Front though.
Right. They are both pretty solid in terms of that, but we're going to head on over to some music here. Get my list pulled up. First, we're going to start with Best Original Score. We have All Quiet on the Western Front again, Babylon, The Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fablemans. I believe, Aaron, we're at you to start. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. This one was a little harder. I think I mainly just did some research for this one on kind of what the front runners were, and I think Babylon has a really good chance. Okay. So I'm going to go Babylon for this. Keep it safe.
All right. I think actually that was Adam's first go, but we'll switch back to the next one. You'll get song. I'm next. I love Justin Hurwitz so much. First of all, just because of La La Land alone, like I just give him every score award you can. I just think, I don't know. This one's hard. This one I think is closer than it's going to be. I'm going to stick with Justin Hurwitz because I'm just going to go listen to La La Land after this. That's all it's going to be. Tyler, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think this is Babylon's one other shot of winning, basically, as it is Justin. It is a very good score. I wasn't sold on it, but then it kind of started sweeping all the other awards. It won the Golden Globe. It won the Critics. Oh, it didn't win the Critics. It won the Golden Globe, won a bunch of Film Society ones, and it won one other big one. I think it did. It didn't win the BAFTA, but it did win the Golden Globe. Golden Globes are usually a pretty good indicator in this category. It's a really good score. Justin Hurwitz is hard to bet against. I don't know which other one I would pick if I didn't pick him. Not that any of them are not all. They're all good, but I don't. Right. There's not another one that stands out like this one does.
All right, Adam.
Yeah, it's Babylon for your production design reason. It just fits the period and what they're trying for, and that's something I think Hurwitz does really, really well. Is match the music to the feel. So I think that's easy.
Perfect. All right, so the other half of the audio side, Best Original Song, which we'll get all 5 of these, and just confirmed this weekend, Rihanna will be performing "Pregnant" on stage again. This time the world will know. So Twitter will.
I think most of the headlines, and the joke is played out at this point, but it's like the Oscars will be held during a Rihanna concert.
During Rihanna, right? Pretty much. But we have applause from "Tell It Like a Woman," "Hold My Hand" from Top Gun Maverick, "Lift Me Up," which is Rihanna's, from Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, "Nachu Nachu" from RRR, "This Is a Life" from Everything Everywhere All at Once. Adam, I said I'd let you get first on this one, but I have to. This is my favorite category this year because the best thing to happen in cinema this year was that sequence of Nachu Nachu and RRR. That movie was mind-blowing. And the fact it's not nominated for Best Picture or International Feature, India messed up big on the International Feature, but it should have been nominated there. I absolutely love that sequence. Go watch that 3 minutes. Like, just go to YouTube and watch it over and over again. I hope they perform it like that on stage. Nachu Nachu is the front runner. This movie deserves a lot more awards than it's going to get as well. And I absolutely love the song. Tyler, go ahead.
Yes, it is Nachu Nachu. Nachu Nachu is going to win. It has to win only because it's the only category in which it's nominated. And I think the Academy is going to do what they can to give it something. The reason it's not an best international film involves a lot of weird politics around movie making in India, but it's sad, it's upsetting, but I'm glad that so many people saw this. Hats off to like Netflix to like getting it out there in front of people, because I can't think of a foreign film in recent history that has captured as many people who wouldn't normally watch a movie like with subtitles that's 3+ hours long that have seen this movie. So
right.
It needs to get some sort of accolade, and this will be the one it gets. So
Adam, think it's so
too? I think it is. I have flipped back and forth between that and Lift Me Up for Black Panther, because I think for the same kind of reasons, there's not a lot of awards it's going to win, and it's almost a nod to Chadwick, and so I could. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna actually pick Black Panther, and I'm gonna take the loss on this one, and I'm okay with that because.
Gamble big. There.
Yeah, I'm just
not too big. Not too big.
I'm gonna get last anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But Yeah, I'm gonna go Black Panther.
Right. So we are at best international feature, and I'm gonna kind of to what Tyler was saying, for a movie to qualify for this, the country whose language cannot be English must submit this. So in theory, RRR could be nominated for any other category, but because India, and as Tyler mentioned, the politics of it lean more towards Bollywood as opposed to Tollywood, which is an RRR film. A lot of interesting information you can dig out there. It is crazy. It's not even here and talked about. However, at the same time,
the other thing is each country can also only submit one movie. However, at the same time, we have come to learn that if you are in this category and you're also nominated for Best Picture, you pretty much have a clear winner. And we'll just mention that even though Argentina 1985 gets a lot of love and praise, Close from Belgium, EO from Poland, The Quiet Girl from Ireland, All Quiet on the Western Front from Germany is the clear front runner. Adam, why don't you kick us off since we skipped you, I think, last time. Are you picking anything else? Is there anything challenging All Quiet on the Western Front?
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
I think it's All Quiet on the Western Front, and in the German, I think is particularly. I mean, for a movie that we talked about being visceral, you throw in the German language, and it is even more so.
Right, Aaron.
All Quiet on the Western Front. It's gonna win. Absolutely.
All right, I'm in agreement. Tyler.
All Quiet. Easy win.
Easy win. All right. We are to Best Documentary Feature. And this is one that I'm going to say I'm a little upset with myself because normally I do watch a lot more documentaries and have been very familiar with the ones. I don't know. Maybe I'm still mad at the Academy for not giving The Killing Act its win back when the Draft House films should have had their first and only win. But that's actually not the real reason. Just too busy. And there are some interesting plots in these documentaries nominated this year. We do have All That Breeze, All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, Fire of Love, A House Made of Splinters, and Navalny. I believe was it just last year that we had, I'm going back to it, it was 2 years ago when we had the My Octopus Teacher kind of just blindside everybody. It built, so it wasn't a clear blindside, but took on a couple documentaries about race and stuff too. So I don't know. It's hard to pick just based on the topics alone. Tyler, why don't you kick us off for Best Documentary Feature?
Yeah, this one's tricky. I don't know that there's a clear favorite. There's some that have slightly better odds than others. I would say just due to the conditions in the world as it is right now, I think Navalny is probably the favorite just because of the issues that it dives into, because of the subject matter of the topic. If you're not familiar, it is about the Russian opposition leader, Alexei Navalny, who's been put in prison, all this stuff, and digs into deep a lot of the forces at play when it comes to the political situation as it stands in Russia over the last couple decades. So just due to current events, I think it's probably the favorite.
All right, Adam, what are you thinking?
Yeah, same. I think it is going to be Navalny.
Okay.
Hard to beat that subject, especially as we just eclipsed the year anniversary of the Russian invasion. So,
all right, Aaron.
Those are fair points. I unfortunately didn't see most of these, but I'm going to because documentaries are my jam. But I was reading up on it, and I think that All the Beauty and the Bloodshed has a really good chance of winning. So I'm going to actually go for this one.
Well, I was going to go All the Beauty and the Bloodshed as well, just because it seemed but I think Adam just convinced me we did just hit the 1 year mark. Ukraine, the voting is just starting. I feel like right now there's going to be good old Vlad out there in Russia is not a favorite in Hollywood right now. So I'm gonna stick with the guys on this one. But All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, I feel like could be the other one that possibly wins. So we had the Best Animated Feature, which is the most confusing thing in the world this year, because first of all, one of the most charming and unique and cute movies of the year, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, is nominated here. However, Avatar: The Way of Water, which has more animation and effects on screen, is not and is nominated for Best Picture. It's weird, but I don't think it's going to matter anyways, because if we have a handful of categories like we do every year where there is a very, very clear favorite. And as I go through the nominees, y'all might know which one that is. And there's Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, The Sea Beast, and Turning Red. Puss in Boots got a lot of love there at the end, and my son still hasn't shut up about it. He's 18.
With it.
He's not 10. He wasn't the target audience.
Saw it like 4 or 5 times.
But Adam, where do you think this is going to land? Or do you think there's any challenger for Del Toro here?
No challenger for Del Toro. He perfect movie for him. Perfectly done. Yeah, easy.
Aaron, I know I watched this without you and got in trouble. So what do you think?
Well, as much as I love Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, it's hard to say. I'm going to go Pinocchio because I want to win.
That's fair. Listen, fine. I mean, just word for word what Aaron said. I want Marcel to win here, but Pinocchio is the right choice. And it was a very different take on Pinocchio. Like that whole opening was pretty rough. But Tyler, what are you thinking?
Marcel the Shell with Shoes On was a lot of fun. It also made me feel really old when the number of people I spoke to who were not familiar with the original like YouTube shorts from when like Marcel first hit the scene, which I was like, wait, you don't remember that this was? I'm really old, but I really actually liked all these movies. They were all pretty fun. I think if you haven't seen The Sea Beast yet on Netflix, it's surprisingly good. It's really fun. Netflix keeps coming out with these like sneaky ones that no one really watches because no one really watches things on Netflix anymore, and it's really fun. But Guillermo was going to win. Pinocchio was really good. It's going to win in a walk. There's no competition there.
Right. And you're bringing up memories of last year where Mitchells versus Machines should have totally won Best Animated Feature.
Yes.
Listen,
the Sea Beast is not as good as Mitchells versus the Machine, but it is a lot better than the number of people who have probably seen it. I'll put it that way. Okay. And it's got Carl Urban in it, and I like Carl Urban and everything.
Oh, I love Carl Urban so much. So, all right, we've made it. We've made it, crew. We've made it to our big categories, our acting categories, our director categories, our screenplay categories, and then of course it'll all end in Best Feature. We're gonna kick it off with actress in a supporting role, which I don't know. I feel like this is getting harder than it used to be to pick here. We have Angela Bassett in Black Panther. We have Hong Chau in The Well, Carrie Condon in The Banshees of Inisherin. I know one of Tyler's favorites there. Jamie Lee Curtis in Everything Everywhere All at Once. Stephanie Hsu in Everything Everywhere All at Once. This is where I wanted to touch on some things with the acting, but it's not my turn to go first. I'm getting out of order. Aaron, who are you thinking is going to win actress in a supporting role?
Well, personal choices. On a personal level, I really liked Hong Chau's performance in The Whale, actually, very much. Stephanie Hsu and Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think she did a great job. I don't think those are going to win. I think Angela Bassett's going to win.
Okay.
That's going to be my safe choice.
So my thought is Everything Everywhere All at Once was my favorite movie of the year. It's on the top 10 list. The three of y'all haven't heard me shut up about it since I've seen it. Like I'm not joking when I say I have the hot dog fingers in the house. I did look to see how much the bid for the actual Raccacoonie is going for. $6,000, a little bit out of my budget. So unfortunately can't do that. But this is where I think Everything Everywhere All at Once was made, and it was as good as it was because the aforementioned editing, the practical special effects, and the directing on it. The performances were solid. I'm not going to say they weren't, but I don't think these are award-winning performances. Most of them. We'll get there when we talk about Michelle Yeoh in a minute, but most of these other ones. So I do think as well they are going to get passed on. And I love the idea of Jamie Lee Curtis being nominated and her getting much more buzz because of just Jamie Lee Curtis being Jamie Lee Curtis and being caught just being a real person all the time is so great. But I also know Angela Bassett gave, if there is one thing I look at for Wakanda Forever and say, take 3 things away that are the best things of that movie, there are 2 or 3 scenes that are her, that are pretty much it, that would round that out. And it's short. She's not fully in it. It's not all about her, but she puts out every bit of emotion there is to the point where you would think Chadwick Boseman was actually her son or something there. I think mixed with the emotion of that, that's a safe pick, but I think it's well-deserved too. Tyler?
Yeah, this one's tricky for me. Like you mentioned, while Everything Everywhere All at Once was definitely my favorite movie of the year, Banshees and Inisherin I loved so much. So much. And I love Carrie Condon in it. I love Carrie Condon in all things. And I think early into the award season, she was definitely a favorite in this category. As the season has gone on, it has narrowed a little bit with, I think, Angela Bassett passing her. This is one of those ones where we talk about where we're doing this and where the Oscars fall. That's doing. I think after tonight, when the SAG Awards go out, I'll be able to tell you with 100% who's going to win this award. Until then, I'm kind of flipping the coin. So I'm going to go with Angela Bassett. If Angela Bassett wins tonight, she is going to win the Oscar. If Carrie Condon, or honestly, if anyone else wins the SAG Award tonight, I think Carrie Condon might win the Oscar. So
okay. Adam, a lot of nodding after Tyler's choice.
Well, I go after him every time, and as much as I don't want it to be the case, he makes a lot of good points. It's really, really annoying. It really is. No, I mean, you mentioned it as well. That scene at the UN or NATO or whatever it was for Angela Bassett, you can feel the passion and the intensity of her acting for such a small role. It's easily the most memorable in the entire movie. And so I think it's going to be Angela Bassett. Well, very, very well deserved.
Okay. Actor in a supporting role. And I think the supporting roles are going to be a little bit easier to pick. And I do agree with Tyler. We might see some more clarity. This one might be the easiest of the 4 acting ones, though. For actor in a supporting role, you have some really solid ones. Brendan Gleeson in The Banshees of Inisherin, Brian Tyree Henry in Causeway, Judd Hirsch in The Fabelmans, Barry Keoghan in The Banshees of Inisherin, and Ke Huy Quan in Everything Everywhere at Once. First of all, can we just talk about Barry Keoghan in that movie? Like, he is just, I love every bit of him. And to know that he stumbled into a audition is what got his acting kicked off after being passed around as an orphan is just heartwarming. And his performance, I don't even understand half of what he said right when he said it, but that's what made it even more charming. But I think, and rightfully so, it's great to see him back, and it's great to see everybody praising Quan for Everything Everywhere at Once. I think this is an easy choice for the win. If he doesn't win, I wouldn't be heartbroken, but I feel like it's going to be him. And Tyler, what do you think?
Yeah, it's going to be Ke Huy Quan. Like, I think it's going to be, I think of the 4 acting categories, I think this is the one that's kind of most settled right now as far as like buzz, as far as other awards that have been handed out. And it's just been like this resurgence, this victory lap that he's been able to take after dropping out of the business, after not being able to get any work after 2 huge movies to his credit, and then coming back, and then just like all the love. And I mean, he's impossible. You listen to any interview with him, he's impossible not to just, he's so delightful. So he will definitely win this. So, all
right. Adam's holding up his hard hand there.
Yeah, it's an easy choice. I really want it to be Barry, because I think in some really strong performances in Banshees, he holds his own against unbelievably established actors and Colin Farrell and Gleason. But it's not going to be him, unfortunately, as much as I want it to be.
Aaron, are you making this clean sweep here?
Yeah, I have to. Yeah, I also really like Barry and have this. I wish that he would win, but he's not going to win this category. But I loved him in that film.
Even in the Eternals, like, he was like steps ahead of everybody else. Like, it was just, so I don't know. I want to see more of him for sure.
He's a very interesting looking person. He falls into that category of like a, now I'm blanking on anyone that I would put in this category, but he's, you notice him, but like the movie I first remember him from is the Killing of a Sacred Deer. If you've never seen that movie, go back and watch it. He's so good in it, and it's such a good film.
All right. Keegan Love all the way around. We'll just have to do a whole episode on it. Actress in a leading role, though. This was Cate Blanchett's for Tars to lose. A lot, but nominated Ana de Armas in Blonde, Andrea Riseborough to Leslie, as we talked about at the beginning of the episode, Michelle Williams in The Fableman. But now, Blanchett's challenger, Michelle Yeoh, in Everything Everywhere at Once. I think we have gotten closer and closer to a 2-horse race here. Tyler, you're kicking us off. Is this going to depend on what happens at the SAG as well? Or
I mean, here's the thing. Who's going to win this, I don't think, is determined by the SAG, but whoever wins the SAG tonight all of a sudden shoots. Like, let me put it this way. If Cate Blanchett wins the SAG tonight, she 100% is winning the Oscar. Like, the odds right now are already pretty heavily in her favor. She wins the SAG tonight, she's going to win the Oscar. If Michelle wins the SAG tonight, it all of a sudden becomes almost a coin flip. I would still say that Kate's still the favorite, but because basically at this point, Kate's won the Critics' Choice, she's won the Golden Globe, and she's won the BAFTA, and Michelle won the Golden Globe because they were both in the two separate categories, musical and comedy versus drama. Michelle Yeoh's performance is fantastic. So is Cate Blanchett's. If I take the SAG out of it, it's Cate Blanchett's. I'm just going to go. It's Cate Blanchett's.
Okay.
As the world stands right now, it's Cate Blanchett's to lose. Like you said, I think she's going to win. If she wins tonight, it's a lock.
All right, Adam, what are you thinking?
I think it's Michelle.
Okay.
I really do. So I think as it stands right now, the controversy around the politicking and the getting the getting Andrea Riseborough nominated, people, campaigning for her effectively on social media and stuff like that, I think to the detriment of women of color, I think is going to push some people to, I mean, it feels like they're giving Michelle something she doesn't deserve, and that's definitely not the case. She's a fantastic actress, and she does phenomenal in this movie. But I think it's going to make that a little more cognizant of a decision for a lot of people, and so I think she's going to get some benefit from that.
All right, Aaron, the gentlemen are split on this one. Where are you thinking?
Oh, that's hard. I think that Cate Blanchett has a very good chance of winning, but I'm gonna go Michelle Yeoh. It's a personal choice. It's a personal favorite for this one. And I think that she has a really good chance of winning too. So hopefully.
Everything about me wants to pick Michelle Yeoh here. And she has built so much steam. And again, a big part of it's thanks to Jamie Lee Curtis, his viral sensation at the Golden Globes.
Yeah.
I just don't know. It seems like since the moment that movie was first screened at film festivals, Tar has not been talked about in any other aspect other than Blanchett's performance. And I know we've gotten so far away from it, but it would, at the end of the day, when you look at the history of the Academy Awards, biopics are, it's biopics. They love when you portray somebody very well. And I want to pick Michelle Yeoh, but I'm going to go a little safer here on this one and stick with Blanchett and split the field. So Tyler and I will take Cate while y'all take Michelle. I'm rooting for you guys, kind of. Depends how close the score is at this point in the night, but other than that. All right, actor in a leading role. This one has also gotten much more complicated as we've gotten closer to it. It's Austin Butler in Elvis, Colin Farrell in The Banshees of Inisherin, Brandon Fraser in The Well, Paul Mescal in After Sun, Bill Nighy in Living. Those first three, Butler, Farrell, Fraser, have all won something. They've all won something for it. And not that he's probably going to be in this race, but Nighy's getting a lot of love for in Living. And I think in any other year, this might have been a chance for him. Adam, what do you think about this field? Who's going to win?
It's solid. That's what I think about this field. I mean, it is tough, and you're absolutely right. I don't think Nighy will. But man, he is good in that. He's really, really good. So looking at it, I want it to be Colin Farrell. I think he did a fantastic job. Whenever he gets to just use his regular accent, doesn't have to try to be an American, his acting improves tenfold. It's really insane. But I think it's going to be Austin Butler. I mean, you mentioned it last category, biopics. If they do well, and God, he has done well, and certainly you have all the articles about how, learning to talk like Elvis maybe has changed the way he actually speaks for the rest of his life. Like, I mean, it's insane. So while I don't think the movie is fantastic, I think he did a tremendous job. And so I think it will end up being Austin Butler.
Okay. Austin Butler. Aaron, what are you thinking here?
Oh, Austin Butler did do a great job. He really did. It was very believable. I think I'm not sure if he'll win this category, though. I think I'm going to go with Colin Farrell for this one. I think he's a pretty. I think he's got a good chance of winning.
That's a big pick there. I think Colin Farrell this year, he's not getting enough love for the year he's had. There's, first of all, after Yang, which if that movie would have gotten more attention, there's a lot of talk about his performance and that being a possible nomination, even that he could have been nominated multiple times over. He was in The Batman, and him as the Penguin. I mean, that might be the best part of the movie. 13 Lives, which I didn't see, but another movie he did that came out this year. And then, of course, The Banshees of Inisherin. And The Banshees is one of those movies that the further I got away from watching it, and the more I just thought about those 4 performances. Like that, you couldn't unthink about. Like they were just phenomenal. Everything about Colin Farrell is great here. I think the internet love. It's hard because is the internet love of Brendan Fraser, and then Everything Everywhere All at Once for picture when we get there. Is that going to be enough to push these into the front run? And I think a lot of people want to see Fraser win, but he didn't win the Golden Globe, and it went to Butler. Now I'm stalling because I don't know who to pick. I'm going to go out on the limb. I think Fraser is still my favorite here to win this. And The Whale lived and died on Fraser's performance alone.
He did a great job. Yes. He really did.
So we've picked one of each 3, Tyler, of that we said are the ones here. Who do you think?
I don't want to be mean about it, but Brent, as much as I love Colin Farrell, he has 0 chance of winning this award. And he was fantastic in this movie. And it's my second favorite movie of the year, but he's definitely not going to win. It is 100% almost down to a coin flip at this point between Austin Butler and Brendan Fraser. Like you said, Austin Butler did win the Golden Globe. Austin Butler did win the BAFTA. Brendan Fraser picked up the Critics' Choice Award, which is a big one. Like that's a pretty big indicator in these sorts of things.
Can we also indicate, though, too, the Golden Globe normally, when it comes to acting categories, starts to give you a good idea. Let's not forget, though, Fraser was boycotting the Globes. He made public comments about the Globes ahead of time.
100%.
So,
and a lot of his reason he didn't work regularly for a very long time was due to problems with someone who is very well. It's a whole thing if you're not familiar with the story, like fairly dig into it. But he did win the Hollywood Critics Association. He did win the Critics' Choice Award. And I hate to say it, I've done this all night. It's only because we're picking on the day of the SAG Awards. Whichever one of them wins tonight, I bet you is going to win the Oscar. At this exact moment, I feel like God damn it, I have to go with Austin Butler, and I don't really want to, but I have to go with Austin Butler.
Okay.
And that's not like a dig against Austin Butler. He's phenomenal in that movie, and you guys all know of everyone in this room, I'm by far like the biggest Baz Luhrmann apologist in the world. Even though I didn't love Elvis, like I've got Baz Luhrmann's back every day of the week for anything he decides to do. But yeah, it's got to be Austin.
All right. We are to Best Director, and we have Martin McDonagh for the Best Banshees of Inisherin. We have Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Steven Spielberg for The Fabelmans, Todd Field for Tar, and Ruben Östlund for Triangle of Sadness, which, by the way, was a oddly weird, fantastic film that is another one that people should see. I think we are at Aaron for first pick here for director. Spielberg, the early favorite. Daniels, they're creeping up there. I don't know. What do you think is going to happen here?
Tough to go first on this one. This one was actually really hard. I think that my heart wants Everything Everywhere All at Once to win. I want Daniels to win. I think that Steven Spielberg still actually has a pretty good shot. I didn't love The Fabelmans. It was fine. I wasn't blown away by it, but I think that he has a good chance to win this category. I'm going to just go with Steven Spielberg. I'm just going to see what happens.
Right. As much as Tyler talks about being a Luhrmann apologist, everybody here knows how much I love Martin McDonagh as well, which is shared here too, I will say. Like, he is fantastic. But I do believe this is I guess you could call it a 2-horse race, although there's 2 people on one of the horse. So I love the idea of Daniels winning, not just because of Everything Everywhere All at Once, but because of Swiss Army Man, because of anything else they've made that is just absurd. Just because it was it turned down for what?
Turned down for what?
Video? Right? Like they are just they don't fit on this like stage here. Like that this one of these things is not like the other, and I love that. But I came to this point to where I said, whoever wins Best Director, people are going to vote for that person because they're not putting it as number one for Best Picture. And because right now, when it comes to it, I still think The Fabelmans is a favorite for Best Picture. Obviously, Everything Everywhere All at Once is. I think voters are going to say, I'm not picking The Fabelmans, so I'm going to pick Spielberg because he told his story, right? And it's that too. He told his story. It is boring. I don't care. Aaron said it was all right. The Fabelmans was kind of boring. Let's just be honest about it. It was just there. But I think because Spielberg is Spielberg, and because he's made himself front and center again this winter and is saying all the right things, I think he's going to win it here. Tyler, what say you?
Yeah, I mean, you stole a lot of things I was going to say. I was going to reference Swiss Army Man. I was going to reference their music video career. I love the Daniels. I love the way that they talk. I like their influences. Like I like everything about them. I love Steven Spielberg. He's been, an instrumental part of my childhood from top to bottom. So like, it's hard to say, but I would say just based on the number of wins that have already gone out across the country in some of the different categories and just kind of the buzz around the world. I mean, I think it is a 2-horse race between these two, but I think right now it is the Daniels to lose, and I'm going to pick the Daniels.
Okay. All right. Adam.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, Nikki. I don't think directing and picture people split. I don't think this is a situation where like, oh, well, we're not going to give it Best Picture. We'll give it Best Director. That seems fair. I don't think they do that. I think the big six effectively, the acting and picture and director are held almost sacred in the Academy. And so I think it's the Daniels. I really do. That movie, for all the reasons we talked about with editing, the directing could have, they could have asked them to do too weird of a thing or not weird enough to fit the moment. And they got it spot on, I think, throughout the entire movie. And so, yeah, I think it's going to be the Daniels.
Listen, if there is one category I picked against Tyler or Adam here, like that, I hope it goes yours way. I hope at this point that the points are different enough by the end of the night that I'm not rooting for Steven Spielberg up there and that y'all are right. But we are definitely split here on who we think will do it. All right. We are to the screenplays, and these are more the splits where I get what you're saying, Adam. I think a lot of times people will pick screenplay in lieu of picking Best Picture, even though it's completely different. And Aaron and I had a long talk about this week about screenplays. And I think a lot of times the Academy doesn't treat screenplays the way they should treat screenplays.
Definitely not adapted.
Right. They don't treat it very well on the writing side. We have some amazing movies over these next three categories, screenplay and Best Picture. I feel like every year I'm kind of shocked more and more that the type of movies the Academy picks in these that I'm like, these are solid. These are solid, like top of the line movies. And we'll start with adapted screenplay. It's All Quiet on the Western Front, Glass Onion, A Knives Out Mystery, Living, Top Gun Maverick, Women Talking. I wrote an article for Project Nerd that already went out this year, and the 5 things the Academy needs to do that I didn't think they would do. And one of them was pick for adapted screenplay, All Quiet on the Western Front. But I don't think they'll do it. And I think it's because we're going to go back to that whole Russian subject matter with documentary. I think Women Talking has a very important subject here, and it's a big deal. I think that's going to be the winner, and it is the front runner right now. Not to sway anybody else's choices. I'm sure y'all already have them, but I think it's Women Talking. Tyler?
Yeah, it's tricky. This one's interesting because of the way that adapted screenplay is now defined. Pretty much anything that's like a sequel to an original screenplay, because of it being like based on characters, falls into this category. So like Glass Onion is definitely what you would consider an original screenplay, but because it's based on the character from the film, it's adapted. Same thing with Top Gun Maverick. It's an adapted screenplay because it's a sequel based on characters created for another one, especially if like it changes if the screen, it also has to do with like the credits of the writer, the screenwriter. Like if you're writing this and you didn't write the original one, you're adapting characters created. It's a whole, it gets screenplay. The definition between the two categories of screenplay is gets in the weeds, as opposed to like the Golden Globes between like comedy, musical, and drama. It's like, yeah, just whatever category we want to put it in. It doesn't really matter. Like it gets a little weird. There's a lot of categories in the Academy Award. The rules get a little bit weird. So like Top Gun, Maverick, and Glass Onion, I don't think don't have a chance regardless, just because of that weirdness and the type of movie. Living's not going to win. It's foreign language. It's a whole thing. It's just not going to do it. It is definitely down to All Quiet on the Western Front, Women Talking. All Quiet on the Western Front also being one of the few adapted screenplays where it's like the vast majority of the audience, even if they don't see movies, has probably read the source material for this. Like it's a book that people read when they were kids for a specific generation. But like you said, I also think Women Talking is a very good movie, and it had a lot of buzz early in the season and then kind of fell off the map. This is its one chance to win an award, and I think on that alone, it'll get votes. So, right. Not that it's not deserved; it's very good. So,
right, Adam.
Yeah, it's women. It's Women Talking.
Okay, it's like Aaron.
That's what I had as well.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
we're across the board here. Original screenplay, we have The Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Tar, and Triangle of Sadness. Tyler, you're kicking us off here. Original screenplay.
I think this one is definitely a tough one. I think it's a coin flip between Everything Everywhere All at Once, Banshees of Inisherin. If there's one thing you can say about Martin McDonagh, he is of all the skills and talents and abilities he has, a writer is the thing about which he is the best, and it comes through. And like he was a playwright before he was making movies, and he's written some amazing stuff. And I think sometimes his writing of his screenplays is even better than like the execution. But as much as I love everything, like these were my number 2 favorite movies of the year. Like there's the gap between number 1, number 2, and then 3 is very large. The gap between these two is very small. I think this is the one chance of the night I get to pick Banshees of Inisherin and be confident in it, and that's what I'm going to do, because I didn't really get to pick it very many other times as much as I wanted to.
And Adam, sir, what are you thinking?
Banshees, yeah, I think it's unbelievably well written story, and it's the story, like it's the writing, it's the dialogue that really drives it forward. There's not action scenes, there aren't big set pieces, there's none of that. It is 4 people trapped on an island talking to each other the whole time. And it is so engaging. So yeah, I think it's Banshees.
Aaron.
I also went Banshees. And Banshees was one of those films that I really liked while I was watching it. But after I watched it, the more I thought about it, the more I liked it. I think it was really good. And I think it's going to win this category. So
I agree. I mean, all 3 of y'all made personal points of I just fell more in love with it the longer I thought about it and the more I thought about those characters. This is Tyler mentioning is a chance for it to win when it hasn't had a lot of wins, although it is kind of up there. But then going back to my love for this guy, Martin, like I love all 4 of his features. He's not made a lot of them yet to date, but they're good movies. I think Banshees wins here. All right. This takes us to Best Picture. And guess what, Adam? You could start us so you don't have to follow and nod after Tyler. Here's the thing. We're going to go around and you've got to make a strong case for your pick. But I want to know what your top 3 are. Well, actually, let's do it this way. I want to hear what your favorite movie of these top 10 were. I want to say what are the 2 other chances that are going to win, and then obviously who you think is going to win.
Wow.
We have All Quiet on the Western Front. We have Avatar, The Way of Water. We have The Banshees of Inisherin. We have Elvis. We have Everything Everywhere at Once. We have The Fabelmans. We have Tar. We have Top Gun Maverick. We have Triangle of Sadness. We have Women Talking.
Okay, and what did you want from me? You wanted more than just.
Well, which was your favorite? So let's just start here. We'll do it one piece at a time. Everybody. So Adam, just really quickly, which was your favorite of these 10? Not who do you think is going to win?
Favorite of these 10, Banshees of Inisherin.
And Aaron, what was your favorite of these 10?
Of the 10, that's tough. Of the 10, I would say Everything Everywhere All at Once.
And Tyler?
Everything Everywhere All at Once, but it's really close with Banshees.
Right. Everything Everywhere All at Once was my favorite, hands down. It blew me away. So now, Adam, now that we know what we loved in here, who do you think is going to win? But also, I just want to hear who you think the 2 potential challengers are for it. Who could end up taking it away?
Sure. So I think it's going to be Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think the Academy has shown recently a shift to accepting some of these more kooky movies. I mean, The Shape of Water winning, I think, was felt like a watershed moment to where the Academy is like, hey, this is very bizarre and we really like it. And then Parasite winning, again, these things are atypical. And so I think that trend kind of continues. And I think Everything Everywhere All at Once, because it was so well done, the acting is, like you said, it may not be superlative, but it is all so good. And you see that because, again, like Banshees, everybody in it is nominated. All the main characters are nominated. And it's nominated for all the technical things and all that. I think it's just a really, really, really well done movie. I think if there are two others that can challenge realistically, it's going to be Banshees and All Quiet on the Western Front. I just don't know if either of them have the strength. This was one of those years where I had to try to figure out if there was going to be a split where a common second place, like Fableman, people just put it second because they love Spielberg and they love the Hollywood story and they love all that kind of nonsense, that it might actually sneak in and win from being second on everybody's ballot. But I don't think it's good enough to be that many number twos. So,
all right.
Yeah, I think it's those three. And I want it to be Banshees. I think it's going to be Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Right. Aaron, your pick?
My pick for the winner, I'm going to go Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think people are in love with that right now. I think Banshees of Inisherin and All Quiet on the Western Front are really close. They're also in my, top. I also love Top Gun, but it's not going to win Best Picture, but I love that movie. Yeah, but I don't think Banshees or All Quiet are going to win. I think it's going to be Everything Everywhere All at Once.
All right. So my favorite movie is Everything Everywhere All at Once. And Tyler, you might be thinking the same thing I am. And the way you vote for Best Picture is very different than how the Academy votes for any other category here. And it's ranked choice voting, which I think is great in politics, because when you're picking from three turds, which turd is the best, of that. But I think here it causes a lot of times to where that outstanding movie that's a little bit of a riskier pick doesn't always win. Listen, Coda, which I didn't see till after the Academy Awards last year, was phenomenal, and I cried. But I do want to remind that none of us, the five of us that competed last year, picked Coda to win Best Picture. We were all over the place. I picked Belfast. Adam and Tyler both picked Power of the Dog. Let us not forget the Green Book beating Roma and Black Klansman. Roma, who seemed like a favorite, but was a risky pick because it was still that whole streaming service argument. Black Klansman, because it dealt with race a little more hard than Green Book did. And that gets rough. Just ask Spike about that. The Academy doesn't go to that. I want Everything Everywhere at Once to be here. I am going to be cheering for it, even though I'm about to pick against it. I am going to, for probably the first time ever in watching the Academy Awards, jump up and cheer for a movie to win Best Picture if this wins it. This movie was a game changer for me. This movie I loved to every level. I cried at this movie. But every time I've seen it, I've cried at this movie. I can't get past that part. The parent-daughter relationship, the daughter identifying, as queer, like my daughter is there. It just hit me in all the right spots, while at the same time had just those awkward comical moments that Daniels that we were talking about can do. And I think of the making of it. I've watched the special effects stuff to where he just walked down New York with his cell phone to capture it to where that's the video, or they just dragged her on a chair with a fan blowing on her hair. Everything about it makes it phenomenal. And I want this movie to win. And I think this is our number one challenger to what will be it. But I think, Adam, I'm going to go with where you were leading, but you said you don't think it is. I think The Fabelmans, Steven Spielberg and The Fabelmans is the safe choice, and everybody's ballot is going to have it in the top three, unfortunately. And I think Banshees of Inisherin and Everything Everywhere at Once is going to split and it's going to allow the Fablemans to creep up in there. That's what I think. So I think it is those three, the Fablemans with Banshees and Everything Everywhere All at Once challenging it. And God, I hope I'm wrong. But
you gave it a mouth. If that happens, I'm flying to Denver and punching you.
All right, Tyler, what do you got for us?
So it was my favorite movie, and I think it is going to be Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think its number one challenger is probably Banshees. I think All Quiet probably has a little bit of push underneath it, but because it's going to win Best Four, it's not going to. Yeah, the way they've changed the voting for Best Picture, the fact that it gets nominated by everyone in all, like 17 branches of the Academy gets to vote for the nominations, and then everyone gets to vote. Everyone gets to vote for everything once the nominations are in, but this is the only one where everyone gets to vote on the nomination. I don't know. I don't think there's any way at this point in the process, based on kind of like where everything's fallen, where Everything Everywhere All doesn't win. But like you said, because of ranked choice voting, something can sneak up on it. I think the one that like I want to give more attention to, just because I think it's almost become a joke, because we've talked about all these other movies to some extent, but this one we've really only talked about Tom Cruise. Like for all intents and purposes, like whatever else you want to say about it, Top Gun Maverick was still a really, really good movie. Like it's a really well-made movie.
The other four we've mentioned, that's also one that could have a chance.
It could sneak in there because it is just so. Yeah, I mean, say what you will about Tom Cruise. He loves movies and he loves movie making, and he takes it to a degree that's kind of creepy. And if he's an executive producer on a movie, like, you know, every little piece of it's going to be so well tuned. And sometimes you don't want that, but like when it comes to giant blockbusters, like there's not many people better than him at making one. And I think because it's like the movie that saved cinema, and because he finished the movie and put it in a can and held it for 2 years, because he's like, it's not coming out until I can put it in theaters and everyone come and see it, kind of thing. But it's not going to win. Neither is All Quiet, neither is Banshees, and neither is Fablemans. Everything Everywhere All at Once is going to win, and I'm happy that it's going to win. But there were some really good movies this year. I think there were more good movies this year than people gave it the year credit for. So
I do. This top 10, like, go see Triangle of Sadness. If you thought, you know, some of these other movies, that is a weirdly fantastic movie.
It's so weird.
You know,
Glass Woody Harrelson in that. Oh my God.
Oh God, he's so great in it too. Which I hate to say that right now, considering all other things he's about, but he was fantastic in it. And Glass Onion obviously was what you would expect from that. You know, we think of some of these other ones. I haven't seen Living, but as we mentioned, Bill Nye is supposedly incredible in it.
The Menu was a lot of fun. I saw that.
The Menu was so great.
If you love, I mean, you have to be on Noah's wavelength, but if you're on Noah's wavelength, White Noise was a ton of fun on Netflix. You should definitely watch that. God, what else? The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I don't know if you haven't seen that movie. That's one of the greatest movies of the year. It was fantastic.
That was
hilarious.
Ridiculous. Yes. No, I think a lot of, and is one we talked about, Best Song, and unfortunately is not sitting in Best International Feature. I don't care if you're not a big fan of India cinema. RRR is the most absurdly phenomenal thing I think I have seen in a long time. And it just was an eclectic style of movies this year. So I don't know. I'm excited. It felt like movies were back in so many different ways after a couple rough years, and excited to see what we get this year too. All right, crew, we picked ahead of the SAGs, unfortunately for Tyler. I know he was there. I think there's enough differentiators, enough differences through the ones here that we're going to have a clear winner. No ties. We'll see who it is.
What's the one movie, now that we've picked them all, what's the one movie, and it's not The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent as much as I'd like it to be, what's the one movie that came out at some point, probably earlier in the year, that was on all the radars for all the awards and then just fell off the face of the planet? Like, what's the one you remember being like, man, this is going to be big in award season, and then just disappeared? I know which one mine is. I'm just trying to curious what everyone else's was, if everyone has one.
I don't think they came out too early, but I think they had pre-buzz to a level, and I can think of two of them. One of them was Bardo, and one of them was Babylon. They both came out in the right time of award season, but I just think they got lost in the mix and weren't as wonderful as their pre-buzz was to a lot of people that would decide it. When I think of Bardo, like when I watched Birdman, like there's a lot of similarities in the way he makes his movies, and I don't understand. Like, I love Birdman. Birdman is phenomenal, but I don't understand how that could be Best Picture, and then Bardo's like hardly to be found here this year. You know, like it just, I don't know. So that's mine, I guess. But again, it didn't come out earlier in the year.
Yeah, mine were definitely, and this one, it didn't turn out to be as good as I had hoped, and I think it got overshadowed by all the drama, but the two I had were Don't Worry, Darling. I think a lot of people expected more from that. And then the big one, though, I think was The Woman King. Just kind of fell off the award season,
right?
Like just fell off the table after a couple early nominations. So
Adam and Aaron, do you have anything missing?
I don't know if I have one that was missing. I did really enjoy Amsterdam. And when you saw everything coming out with it to begin with, like you look at that cast, David O. Russell, you're thinking, okay, here we go again. He's just going to pepper everybody throughout the nominations. And it didn't happen with anything. Like it didn't get nominated anywhere nearly. But I thought it was fun, and I enjoyed that movie, and I expected to see something somewhere, and just nothing at all.
I will say in Amsterdam that the one of my 5 demands that the Oscars should have done is Bale should have been nominated for, like, Bale was phenomenal in it. The rest of the movie we might have a whole episode of debate on. But Aaron, what do you?
I don't know if there was any. I feel like it kind of disappeared. I mean, there are, but I don't know if I was. I mean, there's a couple movies that came out. The Woman King, yeah, I do remember hearing about it and then just kind of didn't show up. Oh gosh, I love The Menu. That wasn't going to be nominated for anything though. So good. I liked Don't Worry, Darling. I don't know if it would have been a contender for any of these awards, but I actually liked it.
I didn't dislike it. I would just say that, I mean, Florence is definitely carrying Harry all the way through that thing, as she does in most things. And I am one of the, we talk about being apologists for things. I'm one of the biggest Chris Pine stands on the planet. Like, you put Chris Pine in a movie and I'm here for it. I love him. I think he's fantastic. And I don't think he gets enough credit for as good of an actor as he is. And I'm as ashamed as I am to say it, I'm so excited to see him and Michelle Rodriguez in Dungeons and Dragons. It looks fucking awesome.
I do want to mention before we close, one, Chippendale Rescue Rangers was just the right bit of nostalgia too. And then one thing that it would have never been here too as well, but just another movie as I was looking at my list that people should definitely check out is Brian and Charles.
I love Brian and
British
Charles.
Independent feature that was pretty fantastic.
Oh, it made me so sad. I think I cried. It's like embarrassing.
It was adorable in all the right ways too.
Go watch Bullet Train. Just have some fun.
God, I love Bullet Train so much too. Yeah, so many good movies. But if you want to check it out, go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah. So Tyler brings up a good point, especially in the Oscar talk and everything like that. When we do this, there are a lot of movies that are very good and very fun to watch that will never get nominated, and it's okay to go out and watch and like those, right? Like you don't have to like only the movies that get nominated.
Right.
That's fair.
Note that two we've brought up, The Menu and Bullet Train, are in the tops of they were both in top 10 mine this year. They were fantastic. But I am going to wrap us up. You can head on over to projectnerd.com. That's project-nerd.com to check out some of our end of the year wrap up articles. And by I mean some of ours, I mean mine. You can see my favorite movies of the year. And I did have some Oscar demands pre-nominations, and unfortunately not many of them stuck. We are getting Nachu Nachu for best song though, and I hope it wins. Other than that, stay tuned to watch the Oscars. We'll be on our Facebook page to post some of the results to see who wins here. In the past, when we were all in the same city, we used to require the last place bought the first place donuts, I think it was. I don't know. We'll have to think of something when we come back together. Right. Venmo some donuts. There you go. Oh, money for donuts. Okay, that makes sense. But I do want to call attention to, we are back. This is Press Play. We are going to start getting some more episodes out there regularly, as well as on Project Nerd. You can also check out Two Guys in One Film returning this month as well. And of course, we already have My Funny Friends back, not to mention whole series, as well as the G-Spot returning this summer. So head on over to Project Nerd, search for Project Nerd wherever you listen to your podcast, and of course over on YouTube, where you can catch all of our fun video content. But that's it for this Oscar Pick'em. Our pretty long episode. I think we finished earlier than we have the past couple of years. So just going to say it, we did pretty good. But signing out, I'm going to put my hand over my microphone for some reason, but signing out for all of us. Until next time, nerds.
Did Project Nerd make that?